Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Bryton Rider S800 flagship cycling GPS computer. The S series of GPS computers from Bryton aim to not only offer a better value than other GPS computers on the market, but also directly compete with them in terms of finish and features. The new flagship S800 that we have here today is one of the sleekest and featured-filled that Bryton has offered up to date. In terms of packaging, you can see standard cardboard box. You have the green and charcoal background with a nice glossy graphic on the face. You also see the nice side profile, which shows off the sleekness of the S800, and full specs written on the back. Go ahead and take it out of the box and go over those specs. Retail price on this is $399.95. It's also available with a bundle version for $479.95. It has a 3.4-inch color touchscreen, which is really nice to have on here, and USB Type-C charging, and it supports USB-C to C as well. You get their climb challenge feature, which lets you take pre-recorded rides and actually break up the climbs and see how much is remaining while you're riding. You get a full cycling dynamic support, so left and right pedal analysis, and you can chop up your power data in a variety of ways to really get the most out of it. And the new feature with the S800 is the group ride and chat. So you can actually see your companions on the map and chat with them directly using your phone connection with the notifications directly on the screen. So another really innovative feature lets you help connect with your community and your buddies who have the S800. In terms of what comes with this, we have the non-bundle version here. So you can see basic instruction manuals, quick start, warranty information, USB Type-C charging cable, and you can see it's this nice 90-degree one, so it goes right underneath. You get their sport mount, which is really nice to see. A lot of computers typically just come with the cheap mount. With this one, you actually get the aluminum out front. Single-sided, but you can buy the puck for the bottom to make it dual-sided. We have a full review on this separately as well. You get the standard handlebar mount, and you gotta remember this is a Bryton mount, so it's slightly different, but very similar to a Garmin, just a little bit thicker. So this is great if you want to put on two bikes. You get a screen protector, so you can put that on your screen to protect it from falls or scratches. You also get a tether and tool. So the tool is for the out front mount, and the tether can ensure it doesn't go flying off. They also include this interesting silicone cover. So just like your cell phone, you can put this around here as kind of a bumper, so if this were to fall, it would be a little bit protected. It looks decent, but obviously it adds a little bit of thickness, and still has the Bryton logo on there and has a cutout for the mount. Now let's take a look at the weight of the computer and mount. So the aluminum out front mount comes in at about 30 grams. And then the S800 without the screen protector or cover, that is 102. So pretty competitive despite the large size. With its 3.4-inch screen, the Bryton S800 is really impressive to look at. Has a long, thin profile, and looks really premium and high-end. It's almost the size of the Garmin 1030, but at quite a bit more affordable price point. The other part that looks like a Garmin is this little white accent they put on here. Goes all the way around, and they've actually eliminated the beveled corners that Bryton is typically known for with their computers. Instead, it's just rounded off, so it makes it look more like a Garmin or other computers on the market. On the bottom, you have the Bryton puck, and you can see here, it looks a lot like a Garmin one, but it's a little bit thicker. What's nice about this and the S500 is that this is replaceable. So you can see it's two pieces. And that means if this were ever to break, you don't have to throw away your computer. You can just replace this. They also have a Garmin version. So you can pull this out, put a Garmin, and then use it on any existing mount without having to worry about getting the Bryton puck. You have a USB Type-C charging port here as well. So that's really nice to see, and it supports USB-C to C cable, so you can directly plug it in. And you can even charge it on the go, which is a nice feature. You have the Bryton logo on the front, which is hard to miss. Bryton kind of printed on the back, and then Bryton on the bottom of the screen here. This is a full color touchscreen. It's not quite as vivid as the S500 in terms of colors, but the memory and pixel technology works really well in the sun, as well as low light conditions, as they've added the same ambient light sensor that you'll find in the S500. And that lets it actually adjust the brightness depending on your environment. And unlike your cell phone, which might look really vivid, it doesn't get washed out in direct sunlight. It actually looks a lot better in the sunlight. You get the same responsive touchscreen. 4 buttons here, and you can't actually use the buttons directly. You have to use the touchscreen to get further in the menus. But you can use the touchscreen to navigate the main screens. You can start and stop a ride recording. So you can start it, press it again to pause, and then even delete it or save it. You can also do the lap function with the bottom left button, and then lock in the screen, unlock in the screen, as well as powering on and off by holding the top left button. And they're really easy to use, so nice and wide. And with the 4 button design, each button is pretty clear what they do. But again, you do need to use the touchscreen to kind of navigate most of the menu. Now let's go over the setup of the computer. As with all Bryton devices, it's really straightforward. You simply have to set the language first. And being a large touchscreen, everything's nice and easy to read. Click the units you want. And then you have the QR code for downloading the Bryton Active App if you don't already have it. And that's it. So you're actually ready to ride. Now this is where you can do a lot more customization. So first thing you want to do is install your sensors. So you go to configuration menu, sensors. You can add the specific one you want. Here I have a cadence sensor. You can see it found it really quickly. Then it will connect to it. And within the app, you can do a lot of customization. Being a higher end computer, you can do multiple bike profiles. So if we go back to bike settings, we can have 3 bikes on here. You can rename these with the app, but for road bike, you can set the type and that'll change the icon and some of the presets. We can change so we'll do the rider config. So here's where all the features are. So data page, you can do amazing amount of customization. 4 data pages, 2 lap ones, and then a cycling dynamics page where it'll show you your power meter data, per pedal analysis, so tons of options. You have workout, trainer control, group ride, and all of these can be conditional when needed. Climb challenge as well, which is a really fun feature. So we'll go to page 1 just to show you the options. So being a 3.4-inch screen, you have a lot of space here, so you can actually go up to 10 items, and still everything's nice and large and readable just due to the size. And 10 is almost too much for me. I personally prefer, I believe it's the 8A. So here you can see the 8 setting. So we'll pick that. And now you can customize everything on here. We have the speed display as a ring, and that's a really nice feature we saw with some of the other Bryton devices. So you get a graphical display that would kind of fills up with an arc, shows you current, average, and maximum. Then we can customize everything else. If you want to change a field, click and hold, press again, and then you can change the type. I'm going to choose cadence here. So it's not actually alphabetical, so you just have to scroll down till you find it. And then you can see cadence now shown. So tons of way to interrogate your data. Some of the minor issues with the UI, you can see some of the overlap. So if I wanted to pick temperature, you actually accidentally pick the other option. But otherwise, really easy to use. So once we're happy with this, we just do the check. You can do multiple pages. You can change the quick status menu to be fully custom, lap details, manual data. So a lot of great options here. You can also configure a lot of the GPS data recording speed priority, so you can change it if you already have a speed sensor and you want to use that over GPS. And then we'll go back here, notifications, altitude. Now let's go over some of the features. So navigation will let you actually do a search using your voice or points of interest. And again, the screen being so large, it's really easy to use. Courses actually has more than courses, so you can do route. You can upload a route via third-party software to Bryton app and to the device. Explore is a new one, so you pick how far you want to go. So a little slider. So say you want to do a 20 kilometer, and this will actually give you 3 courses. Use an open source software to find courses based on your current location. And then if it's able to, it'll give you 3 options. So at least in my coastal location, this doesn't work all that well. Either can't find its way there, as you can see here, or some of the route options aren't that great. So here you can see the one that actually works. So this will actually give you a route, so you can try it. It's a nice way to explore, but obviously you want to use heat maps and make sure you're not being routed through highways or areas that are not as safe as more common routes. You can do workouts, so you can upload them. You can see the schedule. So that's a really nice feature, and you set that all up through Bryton app. You can connect to a smart trainer. Group ride is a new one as well. So you can actually sync this with your Bryton Active App. I'll put a little link or a little screenshot of what it looks like. When you're doing a group ride, essentially you're doing a route, but you can see everybody on your map and you can do chatting. So really cool feature. It's similar to the group track from Garmin, but the first time we've seen it on the Bryton device. And otherwise very intuitive. You have the same swipes, shortcuts, and you can configure everything on the device itself since it's so large. Now let's take a look at the Bryton Active App. It's available both on Android and iPhone and enables a lot of additional features as well as configuration of your device. So on the Android version, it's pretty nicely made. It's still a little bit clunky and there's places where some of the text is not translated or the UI elements are confusing, so that's one of the big downsides. It's really not as polished as, say, the Garmin, as they have a lot more people working on it, but with each release it does get a little bit better. So 4 tabs, you have the activity view where you can look at all your activities, look at the ride metrics, as well as the calendar view, so you can see your progress per week or whatever intervals you want. The plus sign enables a lot of the route navigation, training, and tracking. You have a user tab where you can set up third-party links, set up your heart rate zone, power zones, and preferences. And then you have the device manager, and this is where it mirrors a lot of the features available on the computer, but also makes it a little bit easier as you can set up the grid a lot faster with your larger touchscreen. As far as the course stuff, you can create routes, and this is where you can take advantage of the climb challenge feature. So again, here's an option. Here's another example where loading .Strava is a little bit confusing. So here's a route I've previously done, and you can see the climbs. So you can actually see each one, and they're highlighted here. Nice interactions, so multi-finger interactions, just like you'd expect. So a great way to do that. And then you can also create new routes by either using the actual plan one and clicking it on the map, do third-party account links, or create it from a previous result. So if you rode with somebody, you can create a route from that. So a lot of nice options, and you can always import them directly, so it makes it easy. You can also do basic navigation, so if you're trying to get home, you can use that from here. You can do workout plans, and they offer a couple of basic ones, the interval, tempo, and endurance training. You can also create new ones, and again, it's a little bit clunky, so you probably want to use a third-party linking to create it, but you can create basic ones here pretty quickly. And then again, you can just use the third-party links and use more advanced training methods to plug them in here and then actually put them on your calendar and use them. You also have the live tracking feature, and this is something we saw with the S500. And this lets you actually send a link to your significant other or people you're riding with. And when you press record, it'll send them a web link. They can access that and see your live data, speed, time. So a really nice feature and a great way to make sure you can meet up with other people on the ride or let your significant other know you're okay. The other feature that we're missing here with this version of the app is the group ride feature. This is what would show up here as group ride. This is where you can take a couple routes that you pre-made and then actually invite multiple people on there and see their progress. A really cool feature, and we'll show you more of that once we have 2 S800s to test that feature. It's limited to the S800, so that means you have to convince your friends to buy this computer, which is one downside, but hopefully in the future they extend it to the S500 or additional computers. The user page is basic profile, and you can do that Strava linking. Device manager, so we can switch to the S800. And again, this mirrors a lot of the features you already have on your actual device. So you can do the bike settings. Some of the cool things here is that you can do some of the typing as there's no keyboard on here. So if I go to my bike settings, you can see this is the bike profiles. So I've already renamed this tarmac, and you can actually change that icon or the text. So you can see once it loads, you can actually click on it and then change that. And I believe you can also change the icon by changing the type. So again, with each profile, you can set up everything, grid settings, auto pause, auto lap. A lot of it's a duplicate of what's on here, but a little bit easier because you have the touchscreen. So for example, if we look at the grid settings, so I can click one, and now I have a much easier interface to quickly go through, find out exactly what I want, and tons of options. Again, with the S800, you have more options that you know what to do with. And then it automatically pushes the updates to the computer. So a really great way to get set up or just set up the Strava or third-party links. Now let's take a look at the S800 on the road. Thanks to that large 3.4-inch screen, you can really pack a lot of data in each screen. You can put up to 10 rows of data in each one of them. We prefer to use a little bit less and combine it with the graphical views. You can see the user interface is also very easy. You have nice overlays to remind you to start the ride. It won't let you turn it off without actually confirming that you don't want to save your ride. And then you get the nice graphical round ring view, which gives you 3 different data types. It gives you the current speed, maximum speed, and your average all in one. The map view is also nice and bright. And again, the S800 and S500 are both very responsive, a big upgrade from the Rider 750. The only kind of negative with this screen is that it's not quite as bright. You can see here the colors, although very legible and easy to see, they're just not that vivid. And that's something that's, I think, a downside of the larger screen. Otherwise, overall, the interface is very easy to use. You can quickly jump through the navigation menus, and you have the multiple bike profiles, which is really convenient. So if you have a road bike, you can use that. You can set up for indoor riding or commuting. Here we have part of the Bryton lineup, as well as some competitor GPS computers. You put the S500 next to the S800, you can see just how different they are. The S800 is massive at 3.4 inch versus the S500, which is a lot smaller than that. So you can see a quarter the size, a lot shorter. Thicker bezels, which is something I don't like about the S500. That's less of an issue here with the S800, as it's a lot taller, so the ratio of screen to bevel is a lot smaller. Very similar feature sets on both, but with the S800, obviously you get some of those group features that are not available in the S500. The screen does look a little bit more vivid with the S500 versus the new style screen for the S800. You can see that on camera, and the viewing angle is a little bit less sensitive. With the S800, it looks a little dim from directly straight, and then a little bit brighter when you look at it from at an angle, which is what you do on a bike. The S800 also looks a lot sleeker, so it really captures that sporty look they were looking for, because it's thinner with that longer profile. So if you compare the two, this is a lot thinner just because of the surface size. You also have that white edging. And what's interesting is Bryton has actually dropped the characteristic bevels. So if you were to look at the style of this, you see the corners on the S500 have the kind of sharp corners, while the S800 just has a more generic round profile. And it's interesting to see them drop that, because you see that with the Rider 750, the 320, as well as the Rider 50 Neo. And that kind of sets the Brytons apart. Compared to other GPS computers on the market like the Shanren Miles or the round CYCPLUS, you can see these are a lot cheaper and have a more generic screen, while the S800 feels more like a cell phone with a very reactive colored touchscreen. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the S800. What we like about it is that it's a very large display. At 3.4 inches, it's one of the largest computers Bryton has released to date. It also has a very highly customizable data display setup, so you can customize the data views, the quick status update page, as well as the climb challenge page to really get exactly what you want. It also has a very responsive touchscreen with a simple layout that's easy to navigate. Some of the cons for the S800 is the fact that you can't change that white accent color. It would have been great if you could swap that out with different colors. And the screen, although it's much larger, it's not quite as vivid in terms of the colors as the smaller S500. And finally, the Bryton Active App does have some minor usability issues. It just lacks that polish that you see with Strava or Garmin. It'd be great to see that get improved over time. Taking everything into account, we'd give the Rider S800 a 9.0 out of 10. It's a really great, sleek, and full-featured cycling computer. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.